Hey. I'm your host, Casey Johnson Oxoy, and this is the first official episode of the Pleasurehood podcast. This is a podcast where we explore what it means to be a mother, a leader, and an all-around badass from a place of pleasure, empowerment, and turn on. I am here to revolutionize how humans experience sex, pleasure, and motherhood by normalizing self-care, normalizing the fact that mothers are indeed sensual and sexual beings, and normalizing having desires. Quick side note, you don't have to be a mother in order to listen to this podcast. Though I create my work with mothers in mind, this conversation is for everyone. I truly believe that pleasure is one of many paths of healing, and I'm here to highlight how to walk that path no matter who you are. I believe we all can benefit from normalizing self-care, the fact that we are sexual beings and have desires. It is my deepest desire that no matter where you find yourself on this amazing journey we call life, that you experience your power, your turn on, and of course, orgasmic pleasure. This week's episode is Motherhood, an invitation into your soul's work. My motherhood journey has been nothing short of an initiation and an invitation into my womanhood and humanness. It has stretched me and pushed me in ways I never knew was possible. Before I became pregnant with my son, around literally 3 months before I became pregnant, I had just accepted the fact that I would never become a mother. I had many reasons that brought me to this conclusion, but I remember the exact moment I had made peace with this. I knew if I didn't become a mother, that I'd be okay. And looking back at this moment, I realized this is where my journey began. It was my first exercise in surrender, an exercise that the universe, God, Goddess, Godex, whatever you'd like to call it, would continue to call me into. From getting into a fender bender at 16 weeks pregnant, to having an amnio in order to find out if Arda had any genetic abnormalities, to Arda coming 3 weeks early, to me being in the hospital just hours after being released because I had developed post-partum pre-eclampsia. My initiation into motherhood has been filled with twists and turns and a constant invitation to let go, to be present, to be in the moment, and a constant reminder that everything is always changing, moving, shifting, and the only way to ride the wave is to let them carry you. I'm so excited to share these insights with you and so much more. And remember to take and share what resonates, and I invite you to release what doesn't resonate with you. All right, let's get started. My pregnancy journey began with a dream of fish. A belief based on an old Black American wives' tale that if you have a dream of fish, someone in your family is pregnant. On an ordinary day, my mom called me to ask if I was pregnant. I quickly laughed it off and gave her a big, hearty no. Are you sure? I had a dream about fish last night, which means someone is pregnant and that someone may be you, my mom said in so many words. I laughed it off. I know your intuition is usually spot on, but in this case, it's wrong. Throughout the week, I was bombarded with my mother questioning me about my period, if it had started, how I was feeling, did I take a pregnancy test? The inquisition never ended. Quick side note, my mother and I have a very strong bond. My mother is truly my best friend, which has its advantages and its disadvantages. It feels good that I can share parts of my life with her with openness and free of judgment. And at the same time, it can be difficult to have a private moment, such as going through the process of figuring out if you're pregnant or not. But I digress, and back to the story. So during this week, my mother would constantly hound me about whether or not I had started my period. I would casually tell her it was coming, but after 4 days and no blood, I began to think that something was up. After giving it some thought, I decided to go ahead and take a test. I promptly walked to my local Target, bought a 3-pack pregnancy test, and swiftly walked home and nervously unwrapped the first test. I had done this many times before, and I always received the same message: not pregnant. I peed on the stick, and I waited. For some reason, I was more nervous than usual. I'm still not sure if it was me anticipating the disappointment of not being pregnant and all the emotions that it could bring up, or if I was nervous that I could actually be pregnant and that would bring up a different set of emotions. After 10 minutes of waiting, I went into the bathroom, picked up the stick, and saw 2 faint pink lines. I looked at it multiple times. My mind couldn't believe my eyes. I quickly grabbed the second test, peed, and waited. After 10 minutes, I saw a test of 2 blue lines. I saw a set of 2 blue lines, and I went for the third test, which was a digital test. I peed, waited, and soon after, I read the words, pregnant. There it was, the evidence of my mother's dream. I was indeed pregnant, and there I was, no one for me to tell. My husband was in Turkey visiting family, and it was too late for me to call. So I did what any rational person would do. I told my pets, looks like you're going to have a brother or sister. They looked at me with a blank stare. I didn't know what to say. Happy, scared, unsure, joyful, frightened. I think I felt all of these in a jumbled web that I can best describe as confusion. Motherhood, hey? You see, I never thought I would be a mother. That hope had slowly withered away as I approached 35, and I realized I had never been pregnant. My uterus had also been through 2 major fibroid surgeries to remove fibroids the size of softballs. Hell, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to be a mother, and there were so many other factors that made me think that the pregnancy ship had sailed. But here I was with child, and now my baby is 19 months. And as I recount this moment, I have come to realize that this was the beginning of my initiation into motherhood, because it was in that moment of seeing 3 pregnancy tests on my bathroom counter, I knew my life would never be the same, no matter what happened. The motherhood journey looks different for everyone. Whatever stage you find yourself in, I invite you to honor it. Motherhood is much more complex than what we give it. It is an initiation and a sacred portal into your wholeness. What do I mean by that? It means that you are invited to be more of your authentic self, an embodied expression of who you truly are. It will ask you to touch parts of yourself that you haven't seen in a while or have never seen at all. It requests you to go to the depths of your fear, the depths of your hurt, the depths of your longing, and the depths of your desires, the depths of your heart, the depths of your ability to love, and the depths of your humanity. It's a call to heal old stories you tell about yourself and limiting beliefs that have run the show for your lifetime. It will become a pathway to deep surrender and trusting. It will become a portal for deep body connection, and it is an opportunity to heal childhood wounds. For me, motherhood has become a process of becoming, an invitation for me to be a more empowered version of myself. But society has taught us that motherhood looks like sleepless nights, constant sacrifice, putting yourself last, striving to survive, disconnection from self, sexless relationships void of sensuality, loss of eros, and the list goes on and on and on. In fact, we're expected to lose ourselves to the mothering or parenting role, and it's totally normal to lose sight of who you are or even who you desire to become. And in the process, we become burnt out, exhausted, frustrated, bitter, and resentful. We bury these new truths deep inside our body and subconscious, then attempt to mother and parent from this space. And over time, we become disassociated and disenchanted with our lives. We smile on the outside, but deep down, we're miserable because we're craving something different. We fantasize about what is possible if we were only able to do one thing that would bring us joy. But society has trained us to feel guilty about our dreams, our wants and desires. So we beat ourselves up over it. And the cycle continues over and over and over and over again. It is my deepest desire to revolutionize how we approach motherhood by normalizing self-care, normalizing the fact that we are sensual and sexual beings, and normalizing having desires. My vision is to have turned on, vibrant, self-expressed, sensual mothers and parents on this planet, living fully connected to their life force energy as they guide tiny humans to do the same, transforming the world as we know it. It is my deepest desire for you to live from a place of pleasure, turn on, and self-devotion, because when we feel good in our bodies, I believe everything is possible. If this resonates with you, I invite you to take a journey with me. A fun exploration to see what happens when you mother from a place of pleasure. Now, I don't claim to have all the answers, and nor do I pretend that I always get it right. I am just in the process, like you, to see what happens when I use motherhood as a portal of becoming and allow pleasure to be the foundation of everything I do. I believe that motherhood and parenthood is a pathway to our soul's work. And the day you find out you're pregnant, your world is never the same. For me, it was a call to explore some of the deepest parts of my soul I have ever known. It is a call for you to do the same. What will your answer be? And listen closely. You just might hear and feel a full body yes. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 1, Motherhood, and the invitation into your soul's work. And I look forward to taking this yummy, juicy journey with you one step at a time. Make sure to tune back in for episode 2, where I'll be leading you through a meditation that literally transformed how I relate to my body and emotions. This meditation allowed me to give language to what I was actually feeling in my body, and also how to communicate that with the people in my life, especially my husband. It's going to be an amazing episode that you won't want to miss, so keep an eye out for episode 2. If you're an Apple Podcast user, you can support this podcast by leaving a review, and I truly, truly appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow more of my musings, you can find me on Instagram at casey.jc. AKSOY. Until next time, stay wild, sexy, and free.